Hello,
All right.
amigos. Welcome back to the Football Amigos show. It's your boy Mide as well. We are back. The trio's back. I know you've missed us. We have missed you too so much. We really have. Life happens. Life happens. There's so many things we need to do, but we never forget you, amigos. We never forget you. So we're back. Of course, the boys are back. Ayo, our resident Arsenal fan. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Glad to be on the pod. Glad to be talking
Yeah,
about
you
soccer
would.
again. I've missed
You
y'all.
would.
Yeah.
Especially staying to the top of the table. You would be smiling.
Well, the way the Premiership is going, tomorrow is not guaranteed. Yeah.
That's true. That's true. That's true. Speaking of not guaranteed, hi Liverpool. Hi Sam. How are you doing, sir?
Hey, there was a Champions League game. Only the
That you
teams
lost.
that way.
That you lost today, by the
Hey,
way.
losing first leg is better than not being in Champions League.
Ah,
So,
shots fired. Shots fired.
so I'm
No,
doing
that's fair.
okay for
Hmm.
losing a little bit, but I feel sad for Man United fans, man. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's a little bit of a light, at the end of the tunnel for us. We definitely, we
Mide,
definitely
why are we
talk
going to
about
let that
that.
pass? Like,
I
what,
mean,
what is this?
I mean, what do you
Sam,
want me to say?
Sam, Sam, how is the weather today? It was the weather is cloudy, but not as rainy as it is for Man United fans. He just found a way to just redirect it. I just had to massage that conversation back to Man
That's the
United.
banter. That's the banter we have on this channel, amigos. Like, share, subscribe. Let us know your thoughts about over the past couple of weeks in terms of your different teams and how they're doing. We have so much to talk to you about, especially just being back after a while. But amigos, the show must go on. As always, show must go on. Ayo, just getting back to our different teams. I, I laugh because Arsenal again are just showing that consistency that we know has always been there, and they're now pulling away from everyone else. Man City, they're not themselves this season, even though they're still winning games, you know. And again, we know that they're still going to play against each other at some point coming up soon. Arsenal playing Everton this weekend on Sunday. That's going to be an interesting game. Two things for me, Ayo. Arsenal,
Mhm.
do you think they have what it takes to keep going and win the Premier League? Let's talk about Premier League now because I've heard a lot of people talk about Champions League as well, and they are doing well in Champions League. But to me, and Sam, I'd love to hear your thoughts as well. Is it a priority for Arsenal to win the Premier League before anything else?
No, it's for everything that they've been through. I think they need either the Champions League or the Premier League, preferably both. Um, I think as long as they don't play an English team, I think the chances of them winning the Champions League is very high. The Premier League is tougher. I think that's a taller order, which is kind of weird because Bayern Munich is still there, PSG is still there. I mean, Liverpool have to be respected. Say what you want about their recent performance. Man City is still there. These are teams that on their day can cause you a lot of problems, but even that doesn't seem as daunting as Nottingham Forest right now. And that's just because the Premier League is so far more competitive than it's ever been. And I think the framing of saying what's it called, teams are off form, I think that's not true. I think Man United Man City, for example, is one of the best places. Sorry for bringing Man United into it, but I can talk about they're one of the best places they can. They have a really stacked squad. You look at players like Shirky, that's a brilliant player. You look at how they try and affect the game, how they move the ball. Yet teams are really finding a way to just punish any mistake, any lapse. Everyone is so tactically astute. Are so organized they can defend from the first minute to the 90th. So many teams in Premier League can put you on the back foot, and now it's just about finishing a race. Now it's not even about doing playing sexy football or getting all the plaudits or getting like 5-0 games. Now it's just getting to the finish line. Like the Brighton game, that's the most recent one we played, and I watched
Mhm.
that game, and that was just a lesson in suffering, how to suffer. Because
Mhm.
that first like 9 minutes where David Raya passes to, I believe was it Minta he passed to, and then he tried to lob him, and Gabriel has to like clear the ball off the line, and I'm like, as soon as that happens, you know what kind of game you're in for, and now you just have to dig in. And they dug in deep, and obviously there's an element of luck, but also discipline, and also being able to score too, because you got to win that game, and they have shown no matter what has happened, whenever they lose, they bounce back with wins. Like you don't see that like sequence of games where they lose one game and then they lose like multiple games consistently. So they lose like three in a row before they can steer the ship upright again. Now they recover immediately. The next thing, what's the next thing? How do we move past this and focus on the next game? And they've done that. If there's any one thing that I can see as a clear improvement this season is the ability to be like, well, that just happened. We're not going to like what's it called, freak out. We're not going to go, woe is me. We're going to get that out of our put that into our review mirror and focus on that next objective. And Arteta has been very very pivotal in retaining that focus and that ability to just move on forward, because so many games, too many games even, and they're not going to be winners, and you just have to get through them. I'm sure we're going to have highlights. I think we've already had highlights. We got more to come, but some of these games in between, we're just going to have to do the dirty work and do it well. Yeah.
I agree. I agree. Sam, squad wise for Arsenal, it looks to me that everyone is kind of using Arsenal as a blueprint now in terms of transfers. That you can buy players like Nkapie, Mosquera, and just load your defensive line so that if any one of them isn't playing well or has an injury, you have someone ready to go that can play that system and is aggressive enough. And then you have players added to the team like Eze, and which had a wonderful FA Cup game, by the way, and just been doing well. And we'll, yeah, we'll talk about us. We'll talk about Tottenham. We'll talk about Tottenham at some point. But at the same time, from a squad perspective, Sam, again, do you see Arsenal continuing to do so well to eventually maybe win a double, or some might say a treble, especially with, or even quadruple, dare I say it? Because guess what, amigos, Arsenal are playing a final against Man City in the League Cup. They are still in the uh, FA Cup, where they're definitely in the race for the Premier League title, and they're also playing in Champions League and they're dominating, right? And so, what a way to rattle the squad that you have. And it just seems to me, Sam, with your thoughts, it just seems to me that Arteta has finally found a way to buy all the players he needs and can just plug and play. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think I'll pick it up from the last part. They find a way to buy players that they need, but it's a little concerning too that some of them are now being used on a rotational basis. They have, yeah, like you said, they have chance. They're still in active in four competitions right now. You gotta find a way to play some of these players more often. Be flexible. Uh, when I look at Premier League, Champions League, and all these major trophies, you just have to play the long term game. You have, especially with the Premier League, when you have Man City tailing behind you. All these FA Cups, yes, Eze scored 2 goals, Gyökeres scored 2 goals against was it Tottenham. They are very very informed, but you're gonna have to throw them into all of these other lower trophies or lower competition, if I may. Because if not, what you will notice is you will get tired. in my own opinion, I think they are getting tired. But one thing on the other side of being tired is they're probably the most resilient team right now. Unlike my team, Liverpool, when you punch us in the face, we just don't throw any punch back. We act like we're throwing punches back, but we are literally falling behind. So Arsenal is the most resilient team right now, but they are getting tired, and it goes back to maybe lack of that rotation. I know Kai Havertz is back now. We'll see how they use him in the next couple of games. But for them to get at least two of these trophies, especially the Premier League, you have to play the long term goal. This next 3 months is going to be pivotal for Arteta. I just hope they will get the Premier League over the Champions League. Not because I want Liverpool to get Champions League and all of that, but I do think after you have tailed for that long, you need to be winning the Premier League and consistently being in the conversation of who is going to win the Premier League, like top three or top two, as a matter of fact, for the team that they have built, over the last few years. Unlike Champions League is changing. We're still adjusting to the style. We're adjusting to, the energy as well. You look at all the teams that have been kicked out by smaller teams, teams
Bodo
like
Glimt.
Juventus, exactly.
Bodo.
So, Atlanta, I'm surprised they got to where they got to now. They're a pretty good team, but they got whooped by Bayern, right? Look at the Newcastle and Barcelona game. Incredible game, by the way. You would think Barcelona is playing against Real Madrid all of a sudden. So the change is there. Younger teams are coming in. Newer teams are coming in. They are having chances, right? Once they find a way to slip through the knockout stages, and things change. So I think they should focus on Premier League. That's harder to get, but they have a higher chance of getting there now. Previously, I thought Champions League is going to be it for them, but the way he's using these players in those two games, 3 or 4 competitions, is going to lose some of these major trophies.
Ayo, to wrap up on Arsenal, they have a game week 30. They have Everton this Saturday, and then they have the League Cup final against Man City, and then they play Bournemouth afterwards. If Arteta is going to be successful this season and he does get a double or a treble, will one of the success stories be what he has done with the squad?
Um, I think it's what he's doing this season is much bigger than the squad. Um, I personally think that the squad is a mess. Um,
Really? Why?
I personally did because if you roll all the way back to the beginning of the season, whenever you buy Gyökeres, whenever you buy Eze, they are seen more as players that gives you a different angle. Like whenever you see Madueke, whenever you see like Hincapié, you look at the differences between Hincapié and Calafiori, the difference between Madueke and Saka, the difference between Gyökeres and Havertz, the difference between how Eze approaches the game and how like Odegaard approaches the game. These are not these are not plug and play systems. These are more like give you a different dynamic if the last 30 minutes calls for it, or if a team has a specific type of quality that you want to exploit. And this is where all these players were brought in from. And what we had was a failing of the old guard physically. Saka fitness, I still don't even think he's back to normal. Like he seems off. They have to take him off and manage his minutes a lot. We can't keep Havertz on the pitch. We can't keep Odegaard on the pitch. We can't keep Marino on the pitch. Like you're seeing all these places where the crux of how we dominate, of all the things we did well last season is failing, and we've put so much pressure on players like Zubimendi, who are not only new to the Premier League, but then we're asking him to come into this physical league and play so many minutes, and you can tell he's starting to struggle. And I don't think that was in the plan at all. And now you're seeing a lot of like chopping and changing, a lot of bringing Eze in, where it's like it's clear that Eze doesn't understand the defensive aspects of what we need to do, the positional aspects, which are very, very important things. If our press is going to work, if our regaining possession is going to work, if all phases of our play is going to are going to work, like Gyökeres cannot hold the ball up to save his life. And so if he can't do that, then the absence of Havertz, the absence of Marino becomes a big problem because you don't have that quality in your pitch to change it. Because the Brighton game, the Wolves game, that's all really was required. You require for someone who you when you clear the ball to, they can hold it and set it up. So this is one of Gyökeres' weakest points. And if Havertz was fit, Gyökeres doesn't play these games. And so he's just having to just tell all his players to just come in, apply yourself, and let's get through it. And so my gut feeling is I don't see this as, oh, everything is going to plan.
Mm-hmm.
I see this as we need to get this done. No excuses are expected. If you have to push your way, claw your way, just compete. And a lot of these things is what we're doing. And how long can that work? Is a question. Like, if you cannot fine tune your plan A, like everybody goes into a season with the understanding that your plan A must work. And because sometimes your plan A's don't work, in many teams will not have any answers, no matter how good you are. And so we have to figure out how to get a plan A that can be sustainable. Like, and we have to manage Havertz's minutes very, very judiciously. Marino is gone probably to the end of the season. He's not coming back. So Havertz now becomes even more important because the only person that can give you what Havertz does in the squad is Marino. And so if Marino is gone, now we have to make sure that we manage Havertz. Odegaard, we got to get him fit because some games are just not suitable to Eze. And so till we find what that is, I get worried, especially in the knockout phases. I wish we had our full squad. Like, I look at some of these teams, even Bordeaux Glimt, if we play them, I'm like, oh, I wish we had our full squad. But we'll see. Like, we're getting through. It could be worse. We could be Tottenham. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll save Tottenham for last. Don't worry, amigos. We'll have a therapy session for our Tottenham fans. But it'll be interesting to see how Arsenal finishes this season. It really would, because there's a potential there for Arteta to really solidify himself as the coach that brings Champions League to Emirates, and he'll be written in the history books for life. And of course, he might even do a double or a treble or a quadruple. Who knows? But he can also be the coach that was given everything and didn't perform. So we'll see. We'll see.
I will push back on that given everything. I think you have to give him credit for how he's rebuilt Arsenal.
Absolutely.
I don't think he was given everything. I think he had to make do a lot. I mean, we're playing Mavropanos, we're playing Socrates. Like, he is slowly and meticulously, like, I mean, obviously it takes a squad, but slowly and meticulously, like, we had to get Hincapié on loan because we couldn't afford him. Mm-hmm. So we had to get him on loan with an obligation to buy. So they've been very, very
tactical
about. Yeah, it's not like, I don't think we, like, even this season, like, I think we spent 240 million, but that's because we made a profit last season, like in sales, and even then everyone's starting to freak out, like, wage wise. And so I don't know that they've had like what Man City had whenever they were making their push, whereas a blank check of just like buy whoever you want and like see how it works. It works mm-hmm. out. They've had constraints. Is what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.